If you like this video, hit the bell icon and subscribe.
The idea for this video came from Dhairya. In fact, he is the one who animated these videos for me. When Dhairya told me about the concept of Ocean, he said that it was a wonderful way to figure out one's personality and maybe even a way to try and find out what profession might suit a person. So I decided to research the concept of Ocean and the personalities that attach to it. Heck, I even went one step further and I did the personality test along with 3 of my friends. Lots of discussions, lots of everything, and now we're all going to figure out and see how accurate it was. I'll tell you what happened just a little later in this video. But first, I'll help you understand the most popular way of understanding personality in today's world of modern psychology. So go on, grab that popcorn, put your thinking hat on, because this is going to be a filmy chakkar of our character. My name is Freesia. This is WAC, Lights, Camera, Ocean. One of my favorite thinkers of modern times is Jordan Peterson, and if you haven't seen him already, then I can't recommend him enough. A lot of you keep saying in the comment section, oh, I wish Freesia was my teacher. So if I was your teacher, then I would make these 2 lecture series that I have put in the description below, I would make it compulsory for all my students. Whether you agree with him or not, Peterson's observation and commentary of our life in modern times, it is an important study. Ocean is a concept that was conceptualized in 1961, and it believes that our personality can be broken up into these 5 traits. And each and every one of us, we have all these traits, but at different levels. And when it's all mixed together, it makes up who we are. These traits, they sound very simple at a surface level, but once you start delving deeper and deeper into them, you will realize that it's a little more complicated than that. So today on WAC, I'm going to break down each of these traits, but I'm going to do it Bollywood style. The first one is openness, and a person who ranks very high in this trait is open to new experiences. So an individual is more inclined towards art, music, literature, abstract thinking, philosophy, and they also have a very entrepreneurial spirit. These individuals, they don't like to be compartmentalized, and they would tend to do less well in jobs that are very routine or structured. So remember Akshay Khanna's character in Dil Chahta Hai? He is a painter. He expresses himself through his art. We see his love for nature and beauty in the song Kaisi Hai Ye Rut. We also see that he is in love with an older woman. Again, a trait that is very strong in people who are very high in openness, because they tend to be very liberal. Anushka Sharma's character in Dil Dhadakne Do, she is a dancer. And again, a very good example of someone who is high in openness. When her parents tell her that she needs to get a job, she leaves her house. And when Ranveer tells her to take a break from work and that he will even compensate her for the salary that she will lose, she turns around and tells him that some people work just for the joy of work and not for money. Like us YouTubers. I guess all of us are then high in openness. Even Aamir Khan's character in Taare Zameen Par, the way that he makes his entry through this beautiful song, and we see that he is someone who sees beauty in everything. He recognizes the potential and the true beauty that Ishaan has even before his parents do. So while all of this sounds wonderful, a person who is very high in openness, they can also be impractical and a little flighty, especially if they don't score well in conscientiousness, which means that then they can't take their creativity and turn it into money or a career. Conscientiousness. People who are high in conscientiousness, they maintain order, they are very disciplined, they're hardworking, and they're very tidy. Remember Hrithik Roshan's character in Zindagi Na Milegi Dobara? He is the perfect example of a conscientious person. We see that he is very hardworking, and even when he's on a trip with his boys, he's still working and he's taking calls. He even cancels a trip with his girlfriend so that he can continue working. Also, Ratna Pathak in Khoobsurat. She is someone who is very neat, very tidy. She's constantly cleaning up. She's always maintaining order around her. And she likes things to be done in a very particular way. And she gives that very stern look to Millie when she crushes her papad and she eats it. Because any kind of disorder or anything that is unorganized, it really irritates her. Radhika Apte in Sacred Games. As a police officer, she sees the world only in black and white, no shades of grey. And for conscientious people, things are either good or bad, acceptable or unacceptable. And as a police officer, we also see that she is very hardworking. So I know that conscientious sounds like something that every parent and teacher wishes that their child came first in, but there is a downside to it. If you are very high in conscientiousness, then you also tend to be very rigid. You also become very judgmental, not only about others, but about yourself. You don't take failure very well, and it becomes a very personal thing. Also, a person who is very high in conscientiousness and they're not so high in creativity, they can be a very hindering person to be around. Because creativity, it requires a certain amount of chaos. And a person who's high in conscientiousness, they start becoming very stifling because they need things to be compartmentalized, tidy, organized, and they don't allow that creative mind to have that outlet. Extroversion. Now, this is a term that all of us are very familiar with. Extroverts, they're very high in their sensitivity to positive emotions, which is joy, hope. They love being in social situations and they love making new friends. And the perfect example of extroversion for me definitely has to be Kareena Kapoor's character in Jab We Met. The fact that she talks to everyone at the railway station, from the shopkeepers to the TC to the coolie, and even every stranger that is in the train with her. People who are very high in extroversion can also be very assertive, and we see that assertiveness in her. You know, in that scene where she tells Shahid to burn the picture of his girlfriend, it really does come across. Another very extroverted character definitely has to be Ranbir Kapoor in Ye Jawani Hai Deewani. He is someone who loves to be the center of attention, loves throwing parties, laughing, telling jokes, and he even convinces Deepika to leave her work and join him on this train journey. Even certain dialogues of his, मैं उड़ना चाहता हूँ, भागना चाहता हूँ, गिरना चाहता हूँ, बस रुकना नहीं चाहता हूँ. That is something that an extrovert would definitely say. Manvi Gargu in 4 More Shots Please. In season 2, spoiler alert over here, we even see that she becomes a stand-up comedian, and she's someone who is really able to express herself and speak her mind at that point. Also, extroverts are very impulsive, and in season 2 we see that she has just suddenly caught a flight and she's run away to Turkey. But yet, she is a very positive and bubbly character. Now, the downside to all of this is that people who are very high in extroversion, they can get very easily distracted, especially if there's a social situation going on. They have this high sense of FOMO, basically. Also, these kind of people, they find it very difficult to study or to work alone. They tend to talk too much about themselves and they provide unnecessary information. And most importantly, they can't keep secrets. Agreeableness. This is a measure of your kindness, your compliance, your niceness, your trusting, your naivety. And we see that in a lot of different characters in Bollywood. So the first one for me definitely would be Abhay Deol in Zindagi Na Milegi Dobara. The fact that he has an accidental proposal with his girlfriend and then he decides to even go ahead with that proposal because he doesn't want to break her heart shows how high he is in agreeableness. Because agreeable people, they always want to avoid conflict. Even when she suspects that he is having an affair with Katrina Kaif, he explains it to her so nicely and so politely. Another agreeable character has to be Shah Rukh Khan in Rab Ne Bana Di Jodi. Dying master tells him, "You have to marry my daughter," and he just agrees, shaking his head like a cow. His wife is having an affair with his second avatar, and he does nothing about it, and he expresses absolutely no disappointment. And another very agreeable character has to be Rajkumar Rao in Bareli Ki Barfi. Whatever Ayushmann Khurrana tells him to do, he does it. Do this, do that, go here, write love letters. He does it all. And even in the end, when we think that he has stood up for himself and he goes and confronts Ayushmann, the only reason he does do that is because Kriti told him. Now, the downside to being very high on agreeableness, as you can see with all these characters, is that people will take advantage of you. Also, a person like that, they're not very good at bargaining for themselves and they tend to make less money. And a person who is very low on agreeableness, they will tend to be stubborn, harsh, dominant, very competitive. And sometimes in today's modern world, I don't think that's necessarily a bad thing. Neuroticism. It is a measure of negative emotions such as pain, fear, sadness, anxiety, and anger. Also, neuroticism, it gets divided into two categories: withdrawal and volatility. And measuring high in this trait, it's definitely not good for you. In Bollywood, we've seen a number of characters that are high in neuroticism. How about Shahid Kapoor in Jab We Met? He is that perfect example of withdrawal and volatility. He's very angry and he's very depressed in life. He's upset that his girlfriend has cheated on him. He's not sure about what he's going to do with his father's business and he's full of a lot of self-doubt. He also is very upset with his mother because she cheated on his father. And on top of all of that, he now has to do a train journey with a chatterbox. Then there's Shahid Kapoor in Kabir Singh. He's very angry and he's very short-tempered. He's full of mixed emotions and he's very high on volatility. We see that at one point he's very happy and then suddenly he's very depressed. He's upset that his girlfriend has broken up with him and he has no control over his aggression. And lastly, Saif Ali Khan in Sacred Games. As Sartaj, the police officer, we see that he is a very troubled character and he's very high in withdrawal. We see that he has this troubled past, whether it is his broken marriage or his father's death, and he's taking sleeping pills to cope with all of this. Of course, being low in neuroticism is a very good thing. It not only means that you're much happier in life, but you're also very high on self-esteem and you can handle situations much better. I mentioned earlier that I had taken the Ocean test and I also did it with my friends so that we could get a varied perspective. Me and my friends, right now, we are in a very secure place in our lives and we're very sure about what it is that we are doing career-wise. But unanimously, we all felt that this is a test that would be very good for someone who is young. Somebody who is looking out to discover themselves and understand themselves better. And ultimately, I'm sure it would also help you in choosing your profession or what would be right for you. So what did I learn from this test? Initially, I thought it was an amazing thing that I was scoring very high in agreeableness and extroversion. But then I realized that there is a flip side to it and there are certain parts of my personality that I definitely need to work on. So would I recommend it? Definitely. You should do this test. It will allow you to understand yourself much better. Are you going to share this video? 100%. Because soon you are going to realize that you want to be high as an extrovert and helping others around you. My name is Freesia, this is WAC, and I truly hope that you have enjoyed this video. I'll catch you guys again very, very soon. Ciao!